again to another episode of Justified Jewel Podcast. I'm your host, and my name is Joanne Cox. And as usual, we break it down to so many different parts. What we have here, we talk about different things. It can be spirituality, mental health, emotional, and very well being. But socially today, and to educate you in a different era, we're going to talk about so many different things with a special guest. But right now, I'm going to tell you a little bit about this podcast. I can be found at my website at www.justifieddjewel.com. And I am a speaker as well as a life coach. So please feel free to get in contact with me at 910-224-1918. And now what you've been waiting for is who's her guest? Who's the next guest for today? Well, I met this gentleman at a meet and greet at Fayetteville State University. Do you know what that's all about? Because I know some of the viewers are not in this area. We are taping this message from Fayetteville, North Carolina. Fayetteville, North Carolina. And this gentleman is right here at Fayetteville State University. He is a teacher as well as an assistant instructor, and it is from the Fulbright area, but he's going to give you more details about that. So none other than Mr. Lee. Welcome to Justified Jewel Podcast. Start out by telling us something about yourself.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm Chih-En Lee. So Lee is my last name. So usually we would put Lee in the beginning when we are calling ourselves Lee Chih-En. That's how Asian name works mostly. So I'm from Taiwan, which is an island that is next to China. And I joined the Fulbright program of FLTA, which means Foreign Language Teaching Assistant. So I'm now teaching in Fayetteville State University, and I'm teaching Chinese language and culture to the students here.
Oh, that sounds great. A lot of people didn't understand that. I like the idea that you say how you pronounce your name in that way, that the Lee would actually come first. So this is what this is about, introducing the community to a different culture as well as what is going on at Fayetteville State University. Now, can you tell me what is the Fulbright program?
Fulbright is a foundation in United States, and I believe the budget is from Department of State. So what they are doing is to do to show to bring more talent and scholar to United States while sending American scholar and excellent student to other places in the world, so that people while doing these program can perform cultural exchange, and we can exchange idea in different academics field so that we can all learn a lot from each other.
Yes, and I like that word, cultural exchange. And I want Americans especially to know more about Taiwan and how you are connecting that so that we know more about that language. Mandarin, your teaching is that correct?
Yes, correct. Chinese Mandarin.
That is absolutely wonderful. Now, just with the introduction, let us hear the statement of you introducing yourself in Chinese Mandarin.
Oh, like speaking in Chinese?
Yes.
Okay, sure. 大家好，我是李智恩。那我是来自台湾的一个中文老师，我现在在美国北卡罗来纳州教书。So can you hear?
I think that is beautiful.
Thank
And
you.
one of the downfalls, and my American friends will not like me to say this, but one of the downfalls of Americans is that we have a tendency not to want to learn another language because everyone else is speaking our language. But
Yeah.
why not be versatile and open minded and take a chance, even if we don't speak it fluently? I am going to step out of my box. He is going to be so proud of me. I am going to step out of my box and try to learn Mandarin, even if it's just introductions, that I can come back on the podcast and just say that I did make an effort to do that. So, welcome to our podcast again. Now, I want to dive into some questions. With the students taking this language, what's the most challenging that you find with them accepting the language?
Accepting the language. So Chinese and English is very different. So it can be very difficult for English speaker or other European to learn Chinese, but it can be easier for Vietnamese or Japanese to learn it. I think the most difficult part is that when people are speaking their mother tongue, and when they are learning new language, they will be influenced by their mother tongue a lot. So
Mhm.
sometimes they will try to translate something word by word from English or other language they speak, but that doesn't really make sense in Chinese.
Exactly. So when you're teaching this, is that one of the things that you would let them know in advance? Just open your mind and understand that this is completely different. Let's start fresh
Yeah.
and listen and be a great listener
Mhm.
and try to put that in the past because it's not going to relate. What are some words that you feel that don't relate? I'm thinking things like maybe flavors or colors.
Yes, those things, because I heard that in Eskimos language, they do have thousands of words about snow. So in different ethnicity, in different area, people do have their preferred aspect of life. So yes, for American food, maybe people would have more specific terms to describe the texture or flavor, and in Chinese, we will have other words that American doesn't use.
Okay, now in the culture, when I get ready to travel and I'm going overseas, the first thing I want to know is I want to make sure that I'm not offending anyone. What are some of the things that could be offensive or some things that an American would need to know before traveling, just to respect others?
Hmm, let me think. I think American are mostly very confident, but in East Asia, people can be more reserved. So, for example, American love having small talk, but sometimes if you do that in East Asia, in Japan, in China, in Taiwan, people may feel a bit frightened. They are not, it's not that they dislike you, it's just they didn't expect that you are going to have a conversation with them. And that is something I don't expect, even if I'm living here right now. And another thing is that people often ask, how are you? Like, how's it going in your United
Yes.
States? But for me, it's like, should I answer that? I don't know what I should respond sometimes. But in like Taiwan, in East Asia, I think people just say good morning at most. You don't need to respond to that. I'm saying hello, and that's all.
That's
So
good
in
to know.
the beginning, I was like, oh, so yeah, I'm having a good day. I did this and that. And I realized, oh, they are not really asking me. They are just greeting to me.
Yes, yes. Another thing is, what about the age group? Is there a certain thing that you would do when you're speaking or in the presence of someone that's an elder versus someone in their 20s versus someone like me in their late 60s? How does that appear?
Oh, yes, that is very similar to US. When you
Okay.
see an elder, you will always be very polite. You will need to say please, thank you, excuse me, those kind of words. And you will need to add title after their name, actually, like Mr. or Miss.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Mhm.
And so I think you've made me comfortable enough to say that it's okay for me not to be afraid that I'm offending someone when I go to travel.
I don't think that is another thing. Like if you're American or if you are not Asian, when you're
Mhm.
traveling in Asia, I think most people would just automatically accept whatever you do because they know you're an outsider. That can be a good thing because you don't need to worry about offending someone. But for some of my friends, they have lived in Asia, in Taiwan for 10 years or 20 years. People would still consider them as outsider because they don't look like Asian. So that
Of
is,
course.
mhm.
Oh, okay, okay. And I would like to know for myself
Mm,
the difference in the culture when you is this your first time living in America?
correct.
Yes. And so, what was the first culture shock?
Oh, wow. I'm surprised that people don't recycle a lot here.
It sounds like a waste, doesn't it?
Yeah. And
Yes.
another thing, well, my first one is probably the food portion because on my first night here, I just got out of airport and my supervisor took me to McDonald's and I cannot finish one meal. The portion
It's
of the
too
food,
much.
yeah, it is just too much here. Everything is bigger in America.
Yes. And that's why we're overweight.
Oh well.
I know you're not going to get deep into that. But other than that, as in culture shock, what about the difference between businesses
Hmm.
and the business here? And I don't know if you know a lot about the corporate way of living.
Depends on what kind of corporate you are in, because they are in Taiwan, there are a lot of new company as well. So usually in those company, they will have a flatter structure of management, which is more, everyone is more equal. And I think it's more like Western style. But yes, there are also some traditional corporate, like there will be a lot of ranks and hierarchy in the company, and you kind of need to be careful about what you say. And as a teacher, I never really experienced that. But I do know that is a thing in Taiwan, in Asia, especially in Japan. I think it's very serious there.
Yes, yes. And if you were taking me on a tour to Taiwan, where would you take me?
Well, the first thing is definitely the capital, Taipei, which is where I'm from, and there are a lot of historical spots to see. And we do have a palace museum because after martial law, after civil war, uh, our Taiwanese government moved from, well, they retreated from China to Taiwan, and while they are doing that, they brought a lot of gold and money, and of course the arts to Taiwan.
Yeah.
And that is very important right now for Chinese art craft, because for China right now, they experience cultural revolution a long time ago, and a lot of things was destroyed at that time. So if
Yes.
you want to see some specific arts, you can only see it in Taiwanese Palace Museum right now.
Okay. And what about entertainment?
Entertainment. Taipei is a very it's a international, it's a very vibrant city. It's, I would not say it's like New York because New York like mega city, but I would say it's around, I don't know how to compare. Um, well, the transportation is very good in Taipei. I would say, well, I don't really know a lot of American city, but basically within 30 minutes with bus or metro system, you can get whatever you want. There are restaurants from all kind of country, and if you like to drink, you can go to all kind of bar and or coffee shop in Taiwan. And there
Okay.
will be a lot of libraries or bookstores. And in Taiwan, we have a concept called wenqing. So wenqing is kind of like hipster in English. It means
Okay.
it means artistic young people. So there are a lot of spots that is owned or visited by them as well.
Okay. Now, what if we were interested in doing online courses? Do we need to be a student at Fayetteville State?
Um, Maybe you can apply for like taking one single class without enrolling. And
Mm-hmm.
or you can contact our professor, Dr. Zhang Hongbin. I'm sure he is doing some online classes for Chinese literature and Chinese cinema. He's also a poet himself. He published some poetry himself. So if you really want to, I suppose he will be thrilled to have someone
Okay.
to join. You don't really need
Now,
to enroll. I
now was he the gentleman that was at the table
Yes,
with?
correct. The
Okay, all right. Just want to make sure with the name and the face.
yes.
Yes, I would love to get in contact with him and have him to reach out to the community because how else are we going to really dive deep into this unless we get that cultural experience from the language and the place and just to know how we're going to get this information because I know that you cannot trust the internet.
Yes.
Yes. And so before we start with our screen sharing, what is it that you want us to know about what you can do for us through Fayetteville State?
We do have a language table every Wednesday in the afternoon during the semester. So Mabel and I, Mabel is the Nigerian teaching assistant here. We will be in Java City Cafe in the Science Building of Fairview State. So if you want to learn more about our culture and language, please feel free to come, and I'm willing to answer any question about the language or culture, the situation in Taiwan. And apart from that, you can also try to email me or contact the international office. So I think we will have a lot of way to stay in contact.
Okay, and I know that that is with Dr. Velquez is in charge of
Yeah.
the international students. And I'll
Mhm.
make sure that we get that number before we actually leave, because that is the key entry that we would know what's going on, what day and what time, and if the fee is maybe there, or to get the exact date and times of those things. So thank you for answering that. So I'm just excited because when I saw all the wonderful film footage, it was just like, okay, when are you gonna go to Taiwan? So let's do the screen sharing right now. And you can just be our tour guide and let us know what we're looking for
Okay.
or what we're looking at. I wouldn't mind having just that picture on my backdrop right there. That's beautiful.
Yes,
The
this is
treasure island.
yeah. Yeah, that is actually how we call Taiwan as well. We call it Bao Dao, which means the treasure island.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. And this is Taipei City. So you can see that there is a Taipei 101 here, the tallest building once in the world until in 2010. It was replaced by the Tower in Dubai.
Beautiful.
But still it's still there. And there are actually a lot of earthquake in Taiwan. So you may be thinking about how is it possible to have some tall building like that? It has 101 floor. Well, actually the frequent earthquakes in Taiwan make the architecture more stable because we have a lot of legal regulation for them. So if you are building a house, you need to go through a lot of things to make sure the house is secure.
Okay.
Mhm.
Next slide.
Okay, yeah. So this is where you can actually go to the top of the Taipei 101 and you can see the whole Taipei city. And Taipei city is surrounded by mountain. It is a basin, and in ancient time it's a giant lake until one earthquake flow all the water out. So it is habitable now.
Now, on your side, there is a area where you can actually make this larger. Can you go to enlarge this so that it takes up more of the screen?
Of course.
Okay, yes, that's beautiful.
Okay.
Okay, next.
Oh, let's see. Okay. So this is a fun fact about Taiwan, and actually a lot of people do know this, and that is kind of like a go-to theme for Taiwanese Mandarin teacher to introduce. Bubble tea is from Taiwan. Taiwanese invented it during 80s, and some immigrants from Taiwan brought it to US in the 90s, and it got so famous in the world. And there are more than 27,000 beverage shop in Taiwan. So basically you can get some drink like bubble tea or green tea, red, black tea everywhere. And some people do drink it every day. And by 2025, it will be illegal to serve free plastic straw in Taiwan because we want to go environmental. So it's you can buy those reusable straw to drink those bubble tea. Okay. And another thing about Taiwan is that Taiwan dominates the market of semiconductor manufacturing, like 70% of the market. So we do develop and produce semiconductor, which is often called the chips for computer, for cell phone, for satellite, for drones, everything you can think of, and it is used for wireless communication. And that is why Taiwan hold an important position in the world, in the global society, because right now, even a lot of countries are trying to develop semiconductor or like system of it. They still cannot surpass Taiwan's technology. Okay. So Taiwan is surrounded by Japan, Korea, China, Vietnam, and Philippines and Malaysia. So it is on the first island chain. So island chain, this concept is that when there are two plates colliding each other, there will be a lot of volcano and island sticking out of the ocean. So Taiwan is one of them. And usually you will see the shape of the island is a bit long, like Japan, because it is like the boundary of two plates. And
Okay.
and 70% of Taiwan are mountains of hill or hills because of that, because it's you can imagine like the earth squeeze Taiwan upward. And the size of Taiwan is around the state of Florida. Okay. Do you have any question so far?
No, no. Mm-mm. Go on.
Okay. Okay. So for that reason, the tallest mountain in Taiwan is called Jade Mountain. We call it Yushan. So Taiwan, it is the highest mountain in Taiwan, and it is 12,966 feet. And because we have a lot of mountain in Taiwan, so we also have a lot of fruit in Taiwan. Because it's a tropical country, we have a lot of tropical fruit. But in the mountain area, we get to plant fruits that are from higher latitude, like blueberries or grape or strawberries.
Okay.
So the whole year in Taiwan, you can basically eat any fruit you want. And the agriculture technology in Taiwan is very good. We try to improve the breeds of the fruits as well, even now.
Now, my question though about the fruit and the are those fruits it's
Yes.
year round because of the weather? I don't know what the weather is, but can are those easily in the markets all year long?
Uh, if you want to, yes, you can do that. You can buy any food all year long, but usually people would buy them when they are in season so that they are cheaper and they are
Mhm.
more tasty. They're
Right, I
tastier.
would think so.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Mhm.
But if you think about it, for some restaurant, they will serve the same fruit the whole year long, and it is possible in Taiwan. But maybe it will not be as delicious when it is not in the season. Mhm. Okay. So the climate in Taiwan is actually very similar to southern Florida or eastern Mexico. The weather there is very hot and humid, especially in my city, Taipei, because it is surrounded by mountain. So the heat can accumulate in the city during summer, and it is really hot. And there will be usually it will feel better after in the afternoon because we will have like afternoon we will have some rain because it's too hot and all the water just go up to the cloud. And in Taiwan, we also have a lot of typhoon, which is known as hurricane in United States. So this year we have around 7 to 10 hurricane, I think. And
Ooh.
because of global warming, that is an issue now. We just had one last week. So it is kind of crazy that we are still having them in November. Okay, so since 90% of Taiwanese are immigrants from China, they moved here maybe 300 years ago, 400 years ago. And Taiwan was colonized by Japanese. So the food culture in Taiwan is deeply influenced by these two culture. So it is kind of hard to define what Taiwanese food is. And usually when I'm talking about it, I will introduce our snack in the night market. So the translation snack is not that accurate. It's basically like a kind of food that you can hold on your hand and you can eat while you are walking. It's kind of like the hot dog in United
Yes.
States, but we have more variety of it. It can be sweet, it can be savory, and you can see them anywhere. And it's really cheap. It's like usually $1 to $2. You can get a meal of it. So in the night market, we have 300 night market, and you will see hundreds of food stand for those snack, and they are all serving different item.
And what is the population there?
In Taiwan, we have let me see, 240 million people.
That's a
So
lot of
not a lot
people.
of people. And
Mhm.
it's like, well, it is a lot of people on one
In that
island.
space. Yes.
So the population density in Taiwan is really high.
Yes.
So you can kind of see that in the picture that in the night market, you need to walk slowly, not because you want to see the stand. Of course, that is one of the reasons, but people are all taking their time to decide what they are eating, and there are a lot of people. Okay, let's see. So these are the food that we can see in Taiwan. This is bubble, like some dessert, and we also have stinky tofu. I don't know people in United States if they know this or not. It's basically like fermented tofu, and it smells stinky for some
Mhm.
people, but I don't really feel it's stinky. It's really tasty, and I think this kind of food is kind of like durian. Some people like it, some people don't. And another thing, I was actually cooking this today. This is braised pork rice. So we would braise the pork. By braising them, I mean use a lot of Chinese herb and soy sauce to boil it for hours. And the sauce will get into the tissue of the meat. So it is really tasty. And usually when people are cooking it, they will add some hard-boiled egg in it. So after hours of cooking, the hard-boiled egg would turn kind of like orange brown color. And we also
Do
have,
you
yes,
do you find it easy at the markets to find exactly what you want?
there are some online Asian market in
Eh,
US now. So it's
Okay, so
from
you're actually getting your food online. Have
yeah,
you actually checked out the area to find out if there are accessible ingredients around the area of Fayetteville?
correct. And there's also one Asian market in Fayetteville. It's called Son Market. It's a Korean market, but they also sell a lot of Japanese, Chinese, Taiwanese food. And
Yes.
you can buy produce and meats there as well.
Oh, okay, great, great.
Mhm. Okay. But I personally some of the food, for some of the food, I just cannot cook it by myself. It takes a whole kitchen and it takes a whole crew to cook it because some of the food is really troublesome. So I'm just trying to make something really easy and can remind me home right now.
Yes.
Okay, let's see. So this is data from Freedom House, and it is so they would do a scoring every year for each country to determine how free this country is. And Taiwan scored 94 this year. So I think it's basically one of the highest score in the world. In Taiwan, it's people are really open-minded, and the democracy in Taiwan is very mature. Usually, people are willing to have a conversation with people, even if they are holding different opinion. And
That's great to hear.
we do have a lot of social movement and riots, and it is allowed by the country. So when we are having some social movement, we only need to call the police station and tell them, "Oh, we are doing this now. I'm just
Mhm.
letting you know. You don't get to allow me because that's my
Oh,
constitutional right.
oh, okay.
But we need to report it to them so that they can kind of control the traffic to avoid some accident. And we cannot do that around hospital and school for safety reason.
That is wonderful to hear.
Yeah. So, and there's another thing about Taiwan, and I'm really proud of this. So, with a Taiwanese passport, I can go to 107 country if my memory serve me right. So, without a visa. So the
Yes.
Taiwanese passport is really useful, uh, and it ranks 33rd place on Global Passport Index. So it's really convenient for me to go to any places. I went to Europe this March and I didn't need to apply for anything. I just get in.
Okay. With your original passport.
Yeah,
Yes.
correct. And one of the things that I'm super proud of being a Taiwanese is that our national health insurance is really, really good. In a lot of countries, they do have national or government health insurance, but I am not sure if they are as cheap as Taiwan, because in Taiwan, it is mandatory for everyone. It is actually in our constitution as well, because the government have the ability to provide us medical treatment. So while everyone is in the health insurance system, everyone can enjoy the medical treatment with affordable price. So right now I pay around $20 a month to get all the treatment I need. And if you earn a lot of money, if you're rich, then you need to pay more. But in average, people pay $91 per month. And that includes like dental or for your eyes, everything.
I need to move there.
Yeah. It is like I was introducing this to my student here and they was like shocked because
Yes.
they told me that well, if you have a car accident or you are going to deliver, they don't get an ambulance. And I was like, what? Why? You should get one. They say it's too expensive here. And I think that's kind of like a cultural shock for me.
Yes, that's what I wanted to know. Now, I want you to show me about three more slides, and then we're going to stop the sharing because I have a few other questions before we end this podcast. But this is
Okay.
so interesting about, I'm taking notes if you see me looking down.
Okay, no problem. So, in Taiwan, I want to finish this. So, the attitude of Taiwanese, when we are paying the health insurance, I got this from a lot of friends and my family member. When they are paying that without getting any medical treatment because they are healthy, they will feel that they are helping other people
Yes.
because it's like spreading the risk, right? If you're not
Yes.
sick, then you're helping other people, and if you're sick, then other people will help you. So I think
That's
that kind of mindset is really one of the most beautiful thing about Taiwan. And I want to quote the director An Lee. He's from Taiwan as well. And once he say the most beautiful scenery of Taiwan is the people. And I want to use that quote to emphasize how friendly and supportive Taiwanese people can be.
okay.
Mhm. Okay. So this is CO World Magazine Healthcare Index. So Taiwan ranked #1 in the world. And US is not doing bad. US is 15th place, as I remember. So that is actually good. But I don't really know the national, like the health insurance system here. So
Yes.
in the picture, you can see there's a health insurance card and there's a chip on it. So with this card, you can go to any clinic, any hospital, and they will have some scammer. So with this card, they will have all of your medical record so that they can give you the right treatment since they know all of your history. Okay. And Taiwan is a very open-minded and friendly place, as I say, and it is the first country in Asia to legalize same-sex marriage. And I would say Taiwanese people are not like super pro LGBTQ. They just don't care about your life. They just respect your lifestyle.
They just respect you.
Yeah, you can be lesbian, you can be Lebanese. We don't care as long as you pay the tax. So I think it's really nice because I'm not saying that there's no sexism or racism in Taiwan. There are, but in general, Taiwanese respect other people's lifestyle. And maybe they would talk shit about you behind your back, but they don't really care about that. They're
Yes.
not going to do anything to interfere your lifestyle. You are on your own. It's fine.
Right. It's about respecting others.
Yes.
That's what
Respect,
I'm hearing.
yeah, like different opinion, different lifestyle. It's fine. Do you? So this is one of the things that is very interesting about Taiwan. And that is why I think Taiwan is very different from China, because the vibe of the society is just more open. I think it's one of the most open place in Asia. So in the last slide, I want to mention this interesting thing about Taiwan. We do have a lot of hot springs since it's between two geographical plates. So we have some volcano in Taiwan, and you can kind of see hot spring on the island everywhere. Okay, so you can go to the resort, some fancy one to enjoy the spa, or actually you can go on a hike and find some wild uh, hot spring in the forest. And a lot of people do that. So that is
Okay.
my presentation today.
Thank you. Thank you.
So,
I only have two other questions for you, and we can stop the screen
Aaron,
sharing at this particular time.
okay.
I thoroughly enjoyed that, and I think that part two is going to be even better because we'll have that open forum and people can actually ask you questions there. But
Mhm.
what I would like to know is about your immediate family. I know you must miss home. So what is the communication at home in whose family?
Okay, I have a mother and I have a younger sister who is studying in a nursing school, and she will graduate next year when I get back. So we are really excited about that. And we text and we call each other from time to time, but it's kind of difficult because US and Taiwan, we have 12 or 13 hour of time gap. So every time when I want to have a conversation, like real time conversation or a FaceTime with my friends or family, I need to arrange it in advance. Like I'll ask them, are you available in my 10 a.m., which is your 9:11 p.m., something like that. So
Yes, because of that 12 hours. Yes.
yeah.
I know because I have people that I want to communicate with in other places. And the other thing is, I just thought it was so enjoyable just speaking with you and knowing that that was the first time I've ever seen you in my life. I just want to know about the wellness of you personally and maybe your culture, just so that you're in good spirits.
Yeah, I think so. In general, I think I'm in good spirits.
What keeps you positive? And is there any certain thing that you do, like quotes or spirituality or things like that, to make sure that you are well rounded, but you're ready to present yourself in a happy, general way?
I exercise and do yoga or meditation from time to time when I feel like overwhelmed by my work. So
Mhm.
usually I will take like 10 minutes or 15 minutes to have a timeout so that I can calm my mind and then move on.
Oh, okay. And I understand that, and this is not a question, but I understand that a lot of the area that you're from in the adjoining areas, Japan, Chinese, the Philippines, that during work time, they actually allow people to actually take breaks and naps and things like that just to revive during that time period.
Correct. So,
Yeah.
when I was working in the office, I was working for Ministry of Education. In lunchtime, people would turn off the light of the office immediately because we have like 1 hour lunch break, and you can go out to have lunch or you can just sleep. And everyone in my office, they have some pillow and blanket in their office so that they can sleep on their chair or on the table.
Yes. And I think that is so great for longevity of life.
Yeah, that is.
Yes, and just to be able to be in that position. And I want to get more on that, but it will have to be at another episode because we have so much. If we're going to continue to bring the community in, we have to be visible so that everyone actually know what it's about and how we can connect with each other and be closer in that way. So I would like to thank you again for joining me on Justified.
I appreciate your invitation. Thank you very much. I had a great time.
Thank you. I enjoyed it. And I could tell that you felt like you were at home again just talking about it.
Yeah, I
So,
do. I enjoyed
yes.
it very
So,
much.
I am going to get back with you and Mabel, and we'll have that second interview. It will be in person. And I'm just so excited that the people are going to be there just so that you can take care of that, so that you can answer all those questions. So,
Yep.
until then, I'll talk to you later.